Welcome, friends. Today, I will share with you a moment that touched my soul and tested my strength as a mother. The grocery store was crowded, carts rolling and people rushing with their shopping lists. I held my little girl's hand tightly. She was smiling, pointing at her favorite biscuits on the shelf, when suddenly she tugged at my sleeve and said in her sweet voice, "Mommy, can we take this one?" Her words filled my heart with joy, but before I could answer, a stranger's voice echoed sharply behind me.
"That's my daughter."
I froze. My daughter squeezed my hand tighter, her eyes wide with fear. The man's face was angry, his steps quick toward us. People around stopped to stare. Whispers filled the aisle, suspicion spreading like fire. My heart pounded, but I bent down, hugged my little girl, and whispered, "It's okay. Mommy's here." The man accused me of kidnapping, his voice breaking with rage and desperation. My daughter, trembling, buried her face in my chest and cried, "No, she's my mommy. Don't take me away." Tears welled in my eyes as I realized how fragile trust can be, how quickly love can be questioned. In that moment, I didn't argue. I just held her close, letting her small arms prove the bond no words could describe. My daughter's love spoke louder than my defense. The store manager and others nearby gathered, and soon the truth became clear. That man was mistaken. His child had been lost elsewhere in the store. My little girl was safe with me all along. Relief washed over me, but the pain of those seconds lingered. I realized that being a mother is not only about love and care, it's also about courage, about standing unshaken when the world doubts you. My daughter looked up, wiping her tears, and whispered again, "I love you, Mommy." That was all I needed to heal my breaking heart. Friends, life can test us when we least expect it. But love, pure, unconditional love, will always protect us and guide us through. So if this story touched you, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, my channel name is Soul of Kindness. Welcome, friends. Today I want to share with you a story that shook my heart and reminded me of the power of love between a mother and her child. It was an ordinary afternoon at the grocery store. The aisles were buzzing with families, laughter, and the sound of carts rolling across the floor. My little girl held my hand, her eyes sparkling as she spotted her favorite candies. She pulled my sleeve gently and said with all her innocence, "Mommy, can we get this one, please?" Her sweet words warmed me, but before I could answer, a man's angry voice pierced the air. "That's my daughter. What are you doing with her?" For a moment, time stopped. The cart slipped from my hands, and the world blurred around me. My little girl clung to me tightly, her face pale with fear. People turned their heads, whispering, suspicion heavy in their eyes. The stranger's steps grew closer, his finger pointing at me with accusation. I felt my heart break, not because of his words, but because my daughter was trembling. She buried her tiny face in my chest, sobbing, "No, she's my mommy. Please don't take me." Tears streamed down my cheeks. I knelt to her level, held her close, and whispered, "I will never let you go, my love. You are safe." My arms became her shield, my heartbeat her comfort. The man's voice shook with anger and desperation. He insisted I had stolen his child. The crowd seemed torn. Some doubted me, others pitied me. In those few minutes, I felt the weight of the world pressing against me, crushing my soul. But then, something powerful happened. My daughter lifted her tear-stained face, her little voice trembling but firm. "This is my mommy. She takes care of me when I'm sick. She sings me to sleep at night, and she never leaves me alone. She's my mommy." Her words silenced the room. Even the stranger paused, his expression softening as realization struck. Just moments later, another store clerk brought forward a little girl, his real daughter, who had wandered to another aisle. The man's face turned pale with guilt, his voice breaking as he apologized. But my focus wasn't on him. It was on my daughter, the love in her eyes, the trust that no one could ever steal. Friends, that day I learned that being a mother isn't just about carrying a child, it's about carrying their fears, their joys, the very soul within you. When the world doubted me, my daughter's love defended me. And that is the most powerful truth of all. If this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, my channel is called Soul of Kindness. Welcome, friends. Today, I bring you a story that still makes my hands tremble and my heart ache whenever I think of it. The grocery store that day was bright and busy. People laughed, carts collided, and children ran between aisles. My little girl held onto me, her tiny hand wrapped in mine as if it was her safe world. She spotted her favorite chocolate and whispered in her innocent voice, "Mommy, can we buy this one?" The word "mommy" made me smile. But that smile vanished the very next second. Out of nowhere, a man's voice thundered behind me. "That's my daughter! She's mine!" The ground felt like it was pulled from under my feet. My little one's eyes widened, her lips trembling as she clutched me tighter. My soul shattered when I saw strangers staring. Their eyes filled with doubt, some already judging me. The man rushed closer, his voice sharp, filled with rage. He accused me of kidnapping. People gasped. Some even pulled out their phones, recording, as if my pain was their entertainment. I bent down, hugged my daughter, and whispered, "Don't be afraid, sweetheart. Mommy is here." But she was shaking, crying so hard that my chest grew heavy with helplessness. "Give her back!" the man shouted again. My daughter screamed through her sobs. "No! She's my mommy! Don't take me away!" Her words cut through the noise, but the tension didn't end. Tears blurred my eyes, yet I stood tall, clutching her close, refusing to let go. At that moment, I didn't care about the crowd, the stares, or even the stranger's anger. I cared only about the little girl whose world depended on me. Then something miraculous happened. My daughter lifted her tiny hands, wiping her tears. She looked around at the crowd and, in a voice filled with pain and love, said, "She's my mommy. She holds me when I'm scared. She prays for me at night. She gives me love when no one else does. Please, don't take her away from me." The silence that followed was heavy. The stranger froze, and just then a clerk appeared holding another child, his real daughter. She looked almost like mine, which had caused his mistake. The man's anger melted into shame, his head bowing as he whispered an apology. But I wasn't listening. I was rocking my daughter in my arms, feeling her heartbeat against mine. In that heartbeat I heard the truth. Love is the only proof a mother ever needs. Friends, life may test us when we least expect it. But remember, real love can never be stolen, never be doubted. It always speaks louder than lies. So if this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, my channel name is Soul of Kindness. Welcome, friends. Today, I want to take you into a moment of my life that felt like both a nightmare and a blessing, a moment when my love as a mother was put to the hardest test. The grocery store was filled with the usual rush, families moving quickly, shelves rattling as people picked items, children giggling as they ran ahead of their parents. I was holding my little girl's hand, her small fingers wrapped tightly around mine. She stopped near the biscuits aisle, her eyes lighting up with joy, and said in her soft, innocent voice, "Mommy, can we get this one?" That single word, "mommy," echoed in my heart like music. But just as I reached for the packet, a man's voice rang out, sharp and accusing. "That's my daughter. You've kidnapped her!" The world seemed to stop. My blood ran cold. My daughter looked up at me with fear, clutching my dress as her lips trembled. People turned, their eyes filled with suspicion, whispers spreading like wildfire. Some stepped closer, phones out, recording as if my pain was entertainment. The man rushed toward us, his eyes wild, his voice growing harsher. "Give her back to me right now!" My daughter broke into tears, clinging to me with all her strength. "No, she's my mommy. Please don't take me away." Her cries pierced the air, her tiny body shaking in my arms. I knelt on the floor, wrapped her tightly against my chest, and whispered through my own tears, "I'm here, baby. I won't let anyone take you. Not now, not ever." My arms became a shield, my heart a fortress. The man accused me louder, but I refused to loosen my grip. I looked into the crowd, faces doubting, judging, some pitying. My heart broke under the weight of their stares, but my daughter's love gave me strength. Then in the middle of her sobs, she lifted her face. Her eyes were wet, but her voice trembled with truth. "She's my mommy. She sings me lullabies when I'm scared. She prays for me when I sleep. She loves me every single day. Please don't take my mommy away." The entire store fell silent. The man's anger froze. And then another child appeared, led by a store clerk. His real daughter. She looked so much like mine that the mistake, though tragic, was clear. The man's face crumbled with shame. He whispered an apology, but I could barely hear it. My tears kept flowing as I kissed my daughter's forehead, whispering, "You are my life. Nothing in this world can take you from me." Friends, that day I learned that motherhood is not just about giving birth. It is about fighting for your child, protecting them even when the whole world doubts you. And in my daughter's trembling words, I found the strongest proof of all. A child's love is the loudest truth. So if this story touched your heart, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, my channel is called Soul of Kindness. Welcome, friends. Today I will tell you a story that tore my heart apart and at the same time reminded me of the unbreakable bond between a mother and her child. The grocery store was alive with noise, people rushing, announcements echoing, and children running down the aisles with excitement. My little girl held my hand, skipping softly beside me. Her joy was contagious. She pointed at her favorite cereal box and whispered in her sweet voice, "Mommy, can we buy this one?" That moment felt so ordinary, so simple, yet so precious. But in the next second, my life turned upside down. A man's voice boomed behind me. "That's my daughter! Give her back to me!" The sound struck me like thunder. My body froze. My little girl's eyes filled with terror as she gripped my hand tighter. I turned to see him, a stranger, his face red with anger. His finger pointed straight at me. Around us, the crowd stopped. Murmurs filled the air. Judgmental eyes pierced my soul. Before I could even speak, he stormed forward, shouting, "You kidnapped her! She's mine!" My daughter broke down in tears, clutching me like her life depended on it. "No, she's my mommy. Don't take me away." Her cries echoed through the aisles, louder than the stranger's accusations, but the fear in her voice shattered me. I knelt to the ground, wrapped her in my arms, and pressed her head against my chest. "I'm here, my love," I whispered through my tears. "No one will ever take you from me. You are safe with me." But the man's words didn't stop. He shouted again and again, and people stared with doubt in their eyes. My heart raced. How could love so pure be questioned so cruelly? Then something incredible happened. My daughter, with trembling lips, lifted her head. She looked straight into the crowd and said, "She's my mommy. She reads me stories when I can't sleep. She holds me when I'm sick. And she loves me more than anyone else in the world. Please believe me. Please don't take my mommy away." Her voice silenced the entire store. You could hear the sound of carts stopping, even breaths being held. And then the truth revealed itself. A clerk appeared with another child, his daughter, who had wandered off into another aisle. She looked similar to my little one, and that's why the man had made the mistake. His anger melted into shame, his eyes full of regret. He whispered an apology, but I barely heard it. All I could feel was my daughter's arms wrapped around me, her tiny heart beating fast against mine. In that heartbeat I knew, love is the only proof a mother ever needs. Friends, life may put us in moments of fear and judgment, but a child's love will always shine as the strongest truth. That day my daughter's voice saved me. Her love defended me when words couldn't. So if this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And remember, my channel is called Soul of Kindness.